cards?
We have like a long time. Story time?
Story time!
I Wanted Those Elephants by S. Tarley.
Yay!
This is Cersei. Cersei loves elephants.
So do I.
Cersei is excited. Today is Cersei's special day. Cersei is getting elephants. Are these Cersei's elephants?
No, those are soldiers.
Good job. Are these Cersei's elephants?
No, those are horsies.
Good job. Are these Cersei's elephants?
No, that's a horny boatman.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. Soldiers, horses, boatman, but no elephants. Oh, what to do? Oh my God!
Oh,
This is
God,
a
what?
children's book.
Why would you show me
I
that?
didn't do it on purpose.
I'm a 38-year-old boy. Oh.
I am traumatized. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the IGN Watch Party for Game of Thrones, presented by Wendy's. I am Sydney Goodman, and I'm not alone. I'm here with Nick Mundy.
Thanks for bringing me back.
And the lovely Terry Schwartz.
Amazing that Sam stole that book out of Old Town. Such a primo children's
Little
story.
sleight of hand. So we are here with you until episode 2 starts on HBO, and then we'll be back live after HBO's Inside Game of Thrones segment, which rolls after the episode.
On HBO.
On HBO.
Not here. We are
The
not
episode that
streaming.
rolls on HBO.
We are not streaming that.
This
here.
isn't
We are not.
HBO.
No.
This is
This is
IGN.
IGN.
This is IGN. Watch party.
And we'll be live before and after the episode that airs on HBO.
And that was our segment. This is not HBO. This is IGN.
Thank you for coming.
Presented by Wendy's.
Presented by Wendy's.
So every Sunday throughout the season, you can get a free small Frosty with the purchase of a spicy chicken sandwich combo from Wendy's. Order now using the promo code HouseWendy's on DoorDash and have it delivered directly to you while we get you ready for tonight's episode. And it looks like our social producer, Jeffrey, has already taken advantage of the code.
Yeah.
He stole that DoorDash bag too. What a.
Can I keep this, by the way? Is that allowed? Okay.
Okay, so actually, Jeffrey, while we have you, every week HBO releases some teaser images for the next episode. We asked you to caption some of the most abstract of the bunch. Jeffrey, what did the people come up with?
Okay, so we have some pretty great captions, and I'm going to do my best reading voice for this, so here we go. First one, when you've never watched Game of Thrones, but everyone's watching Game of Thrones, and now you feel like hey, you're left out, and like maybe you should watch Game of Thrones?
He's not wrong.
I think that's exactly it. Tyrion just realized there was a TV show of his life, and he's like, darn.
And
you
all
imagine?
caption I would have accepted would be smooth.
No, I like
140
that caption.
characters?
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
180.
Give us the next.
Oh, all right, I'm going to do my best Tyrion impression here.
Oh.
Did I turn off? Not good at all. Did I turn off? Did I turn off the burner on the stove?
That's pretty much as good an English accent as
That's pretty good.
as Peter.
It's not that guy's fault Jeffrey butchered the line, so.
And Jeffrey, give us the last one.
Yeah. Okay. So I thought this one was a little too soon, but I feel like I had to show the world. I can't even say it. I won't. I refuse.
Huge Hodor? That is
Yeah.
Hodor.
I will
He's
say
dead.
though, it is
Oh,
a Twitter account
wow.
that only just says Hodor.
on brand.
It's a great art. It's art. Just art.
It is art. Also, speaking of art, doesn't our set look awesome? Also, so everybody knows, I almost said artsome, and I saved you all from that pun. So a lot of the things you see here are available at the HBO shop, so go have a look.
Is that the mountain's helm? I think it was.
Oh.
It almost looks like there is a person's face in there. But it's not.
Might be.
It's not.
What if that was like a fun surprise for all of us? It was just somebody
Like a
comes
zombie
alive in
head
the middle of
comes out,
it.
yeah.
Does anyone else want to sit by the Night King? It's freaking me the hell out.
I don't know. It's a little chill over there.
So what else is chill? This next game we're playing. It's called Watch Your Head.
It's funny because he was a father.
Oh, so sad. So the rules are simple. I pick a card. We each have stacks of cards in front of us. I pick a card, place it on my forehead without peeking, and then Terry and Nick have to help me guess who it is before the clock runs out. We each have 15 seconds. We'll take turns. So ready?
I'm really stressed
Okay.
out about this.
Let's do it.
He's Daenerys's pal. He had grayscale, and she sent him
Oh,
away.
Jorah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm so good at this game.
I didn't get
Nick,
to
go.
he's kind of a stalker.
All right.
He's my favorite
boring.
character. He's awful, so boring. Yes.
Oh, that was Brienne? Gross.
All right, ready?
Oh my gosh, she's red and
Melisandre?
babies. Yes.
Yeah!
Yay. Oh,
Your
my
turn.
turn.
Your turn. Your turn
Loves
again.
murder.
He's the one who didn't actually bring the elephants, but had sex with
Love
Cersei.
sex. Love sex.
Had sex with Cersei. Yes.
Oh my gosh, if he dies, I'm gonna cry so
He
hard.
wants to bang Brienne, but isn't Jaime.
And he has
Tyrion.
red hair.
No.
he has red hair. It's right here.
Tormund.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Come on.
It's an animal
She,
that's an amphibian.
Drogon?
she
Joe.
Rhaegal? Oh. What?
We're just gonna call
Oh.
Wait.
What? This is a character. This is not an.
I honestly thought it was a frog. Who is it?
I just looked at that.
She's the one who gave Cersei the prophecy that there would only be three. You guys did give me the hard one.
All right, one more.
All right, one more. He had sex with 3 women.
He's the coolest guy in the show. He's the coolest guy in the show.
Yeah, he's supposed to kill Jaime and Tyrion. Now he's been hanging out with a lot of people.
He
He's a
had a
sellsword.
castle, but then he had one.
He was, the husband of Lawless.
4, 3, 2, 1.
I'm probably racking up the positivity in our comment section right now. Thank you all for that. I appreciate it.
It was Braun.
Oh, okay. Well, you can't win them all, folks. So now I'm supposed to tell you how far we are from the next episode, but I can't see the clock because we covered up the TV so that we didn't peek while playing our previous thing.
Oh, 20 minutes to go.
20 minutes to go.
We don't have
There she
time for
blows.
this.
Oh, it's Bran.
It's Brandon.
Yeah.
Oh.
We have time for this show,
Oh,
though.
man.
Yeah.
So I have a special announcement, everyone. We are very lucky to be partnering with a very special guest for a very special series. It's special if you haven't caught on yet, and it will start right after tonight's episode. George, take it away.
Hey guys, I know we're all excited for IGN's Watch Party Game of Thrones. Well, stick around afterwards for the George R. R. Martin presents George R. R. Martin's IGN Watch Party, Game of Thrones After Show with me, George R. R. Martin. The show where I talk about other people talking about the show based on the book I wrote, right here on IGN.
George R. R. Martin presents George R. R. Martin's IGN Watch Party, Game of Thrones After Show with George R. R. Martin. Coming up after the post show.
The things George R. R. Martin comes up with to not write the damn books. I'm not going to read what's on prompter, which says very exciting stuff. Can't wait for that, though I really can't wait for that in the post show. But it is time for this week's edition of Gaming of Thrones.
Yeah!
So if you weren't with us last week, this is basically where we play some bets about what's going to happen in tonight's episode. One big change is I'm on the board this week. I'm very excited about that. Terry gets her placement, this beautiful headshot, everyone. All right, so Sydney, Nick, and myself. Sydney, we'll start with you for all of these predictions. Pressure's on. If everyone remembers, Nick won last week's predictions. So Sydney, I think this is your week. Just ask the Night King for some spoilers. First question. Will Daenerys find out Jon is a Targaryen in tonight's episode? That was the cliffhanger from last week. Sydney, what do you think?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I'm just going to leave you on yes then. Nick, what do you think? Do you think we'll find out in tonight's episode?
No, because it's not hilarious enough for it. Like, we gotta wait they gotta have sex a few more times, dude.
Yeah. Game of Thrones a comedy, guys, where everything's about the punchline and the joke. I'm going with yes as well.
Okay, Terry.
You're the comic here. I mean, you're bringing that levity.
Oh, well, that just opened up a bunch of YouTube comments. That guy's funny? Okay.
All right, prediction number 2. Will anyone else find out what Jaime did to Brienne in tonight's episode? If you remember, only Jaime, Cersei, and Brienne would know that Jaime was the one who pushed Brienne out the window and said, "The things we do for love," one of the best lines. What do you think, Sydney? Will anyone else find out?
This has me stumped.
Well, there are only 2 options.
This is true. I'll say no.
All right, what do you think, Nick?
Yes, everyone's gonna find out, and they're about to like start kicking his ass, and then Bran's like, "No, I'm a weirdo. Don't kill him." but for reasons. For reasons.
Wow, you must be friends with George R. Martin to get all the great dialogue like
I'm
that.
not familiar.
I'm gonna go with. I actually am a little stumped on this one too, Cindy. I think I'm gonna go with yes, because why else would Bran have been waiting outside for multiple days for an old friend to return, if not to drop that truth bomb on everyone else?
We said the same thing.
Question number 3. Will the Red Woman, Melisandre, return in this episode? Remember, she said last season she was leaving Westeros but would come back at one point for her death. Will that happen tonight? What do you think, Sydney?
Not yet.
Not yet? Are you channeling Melisandre tonight? Is that why you're in the red?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That's it.
Yeah. Nailed it. Great wardrobe. Nick, what do you think?
I'm saying yes, and I'm also channeling Melisandre because I'm also way older than I look.
I don't have a funny joke to counter that with, so I'm gonna go with no for this week. I think she's gonna come back, but maybe in next week's episode, the big battle. Crossing my fingers though, it's gonna happen, and apparently she's gonna die. That's what she thinks. Will Daenerys try to kill Jaime Lannister in tonight's episode? We know that she will kind of confront him with the fact that her father was killed at his hand. He was a Kingslayer because he killed the Mad King Aerys. Sydney, will Daenerys try to kill Jaime?
No.
Why?
I don't know. That just doesn't seem important right now, and I don't really want to watch that.
That's fair. Where's our brand? Where's our brand pop up? We don't have time for this. No? No?
We don't
No?
have time for it.
Yeah, there he is. All right, Nick, what do you think? Will Dany try to kill Jaime?
No, because Jaime's gonna bend the knee because that's really important for Daenerys for some reason, and he's just gonna do it because he's like, yeah, we have other things to worry about. Yeah, I'm just gonna bend the knee.
See, I think that she will try to kill him, and that'll be the thing that finally stops everyone and is like, no, you're crazy, you can't do that like you did to the Tarleys. So I'm gonna stick with the yes column.
You really think everyone would stand up for Jaime? I feel like there's still a lot of animosity between the Lannisters and the...
Camera guy agrees
Well,
with
Tyrion's there, Brienne's there. We'll see. We only have what? Where's
long
our
as he doesn't
counterclock?
die.
Like
Camera-
18
yeah.
more episodes.
Look, because I recruited him to my popsicle stick team.
He's so handsome. What a
He's
handsome
so
guy.
handsome. Honestly, like, can we just have a segment, producer? Can we add a new segment called Jaime Adoration, and I just stare at pictures of Jaime?
Wait, here we go.
Show.
How handsome is Jaime? All right. Next prediction. Will we see the Night King this week? What do you think, Sid?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Nick, what do you say?
Oh wait, I'm still kind of dealing with that hand pun.
It was A++.
Yeah, yes, okay, yes.
Yes?
The Night King's gonna show up, he's gonna be on the dragon, look at the camera and be like, looks like this game just got a whole lot more thrones.
If that doesn't happen, this counts as a loss for you. I want you to know that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go with a simple yes. Next one. Will Arya kill anyone in this episode? Sydney, what do you think?
Do you mean anyone like a little
Like, literally
lackey,
anyone,
or
like
a big kill?
It could anything. Like it could be a white. It could be Cersei.
Signs point to
anything.
yes.
Signs point to yes. Okay. What do you think, Nick?
While she has bloodlust, I'm gonna say no. She's saving all her kills for the end.
Ooh, the end. Yeah, I'm gonna go with no as well. My big
dang
fear
it.
with this week's episode is that it's
dang
just gonna
it.
be another kind of setup to the battle, but maybe.
Wait, you guys,
maybe
look.
I'll
Sorry,
be.
I'm not trying to derail you or anything, but I just made like a cool movie poster with my.
We don't have
like
time.
a
This is why you lost last week's predictions. Focus. All right. Next up, will Cersei drink wine again, even though she's pregnant? And it's a terrible idea. I'm gonna make sure this is on every single week because I'm gonna jump ahead because yes, I think she absolutely will. The second we see Cersei, she will have a wine glass in hand. But Sydney, what do you think?
Yes.
Yeah. Nick, what do you think?
That she's drinking?
No, because
No.
I think she's faking it.
Ooh.
I actually don't
So do
think
you think
she's faking it.
We
I just
have
think
dealt
she's
with the fake
responsible.
pregnancy in Game of Thrones and all TV sitcom tropes. There's always a fake pregnancy. Varys probably threw out the idea. By the way, this is also
I feel
my
like you're watching a different show. I don't know how many times I have to tell you Game of Thrones isn't a sitcom and it isn't a comedy.
Game of Thrones.
Maybe
It's a TV show I watch. Game of
someone get the
Thrones.
shame bell out so we can shamed by the bell. Thank you. Thank you. So our last one isn't a yes or no question. We decided to make things a bit more complicated, just like Game of Thrones. Last week's episode had people buzzing on the internet about Bran just like creepily gazing every time we
Your
cut
hero.
away from him. Yeah, my favorite. He has a really dynamic
love him.
personality. I believe we even have a little sizzle to show you guys just how many times we caught Bran staring into the distance.
Creep. Weirdo. Ducky.
Wow.
Four.
Seriously, he's the worst.
Hello, mother.
What do you think he's
This is my favorite one. 6 is my favorite, for the record.
I think 7 might be my favorite.
Yes. 7 times. 7 times, Bran. What great meme fodder. So our final question is, how many times do we think Bran will creepily stare this week at the camera? We have a lot of numbers, your favorite math involved in Game of Thrones stuff. So Sydney, we'll start with you. How many times, if 7 was last week, a very significant number in Game of Thrones, I'm sure this was intentionally done by the editors and the writers, how many times do you think this week Bran will stare creepily at the camera?
So I'm gonna lowball it at 4. I think they're gonna starve us a little bit, want us, like keep us wanting more, you know?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
next episode, they'll hit us with a 2-digiter.
Yeah, I think that's fair. What do you think, Nick?
I think there will be a picture-in-picture of Bran just staring at us throughout the episode, just telling us how wrong we are.
So you'd say that's infinite times?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That wasn't
Creativity.
pre-planned. I'm gonna lowball your lowball, Sydney. I feel like they really went out with a bang in that first episode, and like why, like kind of like what you're saying. I'm gonna Price is Right you a little bit and put 2. For myself.
Strategy.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great
So it's
strategy.
more than
because
5,
the
I
rules
win,
are the
right?
same. If you know it's above or below. No, I'm just kidding. You have to get it exactly right, or none of us will come back next week on Gaming of Thrones. But all
I'm
right.
gonna win a wash machine in this episode, I swear to God.
That's, or at least some sandwiches. All right, everyone, your bets have been cast. We will check back after the episode to see how our wagers fared. Time now for a very special in memoriam from last week's episode.
We don't really know who that is.
Somewhere Martin Starr is just crying over the fact that only Rob McElhenney was in that in memoriam and that the other celebrity cameo in last week's episode did not make it.
I don't watch either of the shows they're from, so I truly don't understand anything you just said.
Yeah, shame. Sydney. So next week for IGN Watch Party, we're just gonna make Sydney watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Come back. We'll just change the show to that.
But once again, we won't be streaming that or Game of Thrones
Yeah, we won't be
on
streaming
this watch
any
party.
copyrighted television on this, wherever you're watching. Okay, so it is time for not copyrighted television, but it's time to venture beyond the wall.
What a great segue.
Thank you. Okay, so this is the time for Hot Takes Beyond the Wall. Yes. Okay, so let's fire away about some theories for tonight. Does anybody want to start? I have a really good thought exercise, but I don't have to go first.
Why don't you go first?
Sorry, Nick.
Okay, I'll go first, I guess, because of peer pressure. My guess is the big battle that's going to happen is not from the White Walkers, but I think Cersei is attacking. Cersei and Euron are just going to bone all the way to all the way to the north and just start attacking because
They're just
they're
having
selfish.
sex the whole way. Is that you said they're
Sure.
gonna?
Okay, is that so far out of left field? Have you seen this show? Yes, that's all that's happening.
Huh, that's interesting. I wouldn't be upset about that because one of my fears, I don't think I voiced this last week because I was all aboard the hype train, toot toot, but was that, Nick, do not laugh at me, I'm in
Yes,
the middle
ma'am,
of giving
sorry.
a take, was that this season was gonna be so black and white, like good versus evil, that I really love some gray area of like humans duking it out for a sec, so I wouldn't be upset about that.
You mean some Euron gray area?
We don't have time for
My
this.
hand pun was better.
Yeah.
I mean, my big question, it's not so much a theory, but the big question after the cliffhanger last week is like, not when will Daenerys find out that Jon is also Targaryen, but how will she respond to it? And I really think it's gonna go poorly. There's a question of whether it'll happen before or after the battle, but if you think about Daenerys as a character, that's the Night King. They kind of have similar outfits that wear.
Oh, she's
I
right
feel
there.
like we need some, there we go, some dynamic stuff, and then we have Jon in here too. Great, so Daenerys, her whole kind of career path has been that she wants to sit on the Iron Throne, and the idea that, where's my camera? There, no, here we go. The idea that like someone else, Jon, would come in and take that away from her, I think Sam kind of hit it right on the head that of course Cersei's not, or of course Daenerys is not just going to give up without a fight. So I'm really curious to see how that plays out. I think that they're kind of rightfully playing into this whole brewing conflict between them and the fact that it seems like most characters on the show would back Jon. I feel like all Jon needs to do is say, hey, yo, like I don't actually want to be king, but I don't know if that's true. And it's not really a theory. This is more of a thought exercise to stealing your
Yes, no, I
punchline.
love thought exercises. No, I love that though because last week I complained a lot about Daenerys' character being boring as, can't say that word, but you can fill in the blank. And I feel like that would really add a lot to her like character arc, just because she has gotten in this like the early seasons, it was like this rise and you're watching her become like so powerful and you're rooting for her, and then it's like, oh, you kind of make a lot of bad decisions as a ruler, and now she has this weird entitlement thing that I just am not loving. And I think it would be fun to watch her descend into madness and just like become an awful character that everybody hates.
Well, also, sorry, Nick, I just cut you off.
No, or what I was gonna say is maybe she's going like batshit. Sorry. Maybe she's going.
Beep! Oh, shit. Shoot.
Maybe she's going a bit off kilter, and then Jaime's like, "Oh, I've seen this before," and then stabs her, and it's like, "Trust me."
What if she dies this episode? Just like out of nowhere.
That would spice things up a little bit, but I do think like we're kind of assuming that Daenerys or Jon or any of these characters will get to the point that they even have the option of sitting on the Iron Throne, and it would be a crazy curveball if like Daenerys gets killed by the Night King and is like reanimated. And
I'd be so into that. Just saying, I guessed that last week. That was to run it back. I did that last week, I think. I did, because she was wearing white.
Run back the tape. Just kidding.
I think that
in the post show next week's episode.
Yeah, I
we'll
think
get
that the whole thing with Daenerys finding out about Jon is going to be a huge driving point for the rest of the series, to be honest. Now, my thought exercise, and it might be more of a shame bell. Oh, shame on you, Sid, you don't know what this is. But
How many times do I have to tell you the White Walkers are the blue guys?
Thank you. But so, Mr. Night King, does he have a specific target, or does he just want to like destroy humanity? Like, what is his deal here? And that's what I'm interested in, because I think the answer to that question, because part of me kind of thinks like,
Like
what
your
if
flames?
Oh wait, like I'm burning? Get it?
No, you're so on fire right
Oh,
now
okay.
with your great hot take.
Okay,
Hot take.
yeah. But yeah, is that like, is he going after Bran, and is Bran just doing everything he can not to get killed by him? Like,
Right.
Is there a dynamic there?
That's the question, and like a lot of people have kind of gone. I think what we've been told about the Night King's purpose is that he just wants to destroy everything. Like
Yeah.
he just wants to wipe out humanity as we know it. But we do know that there's some kind of connection between Bran, Three-Eyed Raven, and the Night King ever since he got marked by the Night King, right?
Yes.
And what the old Three-Eyed Raven told him is like now he can find you wherever. And so I think, yeah, I'm very curious to see how that plays out as well. And Isaac Hempstead, right, the actor who plays Bran, did tease us that we should be be finding out more about the Night King and the White Walkers and their motivations this season. And
Motivations.
I'm very excited.
Or next season.
Exciting stuff. There's no next season. Surprise.
This is where Nick finds out there's no more seasons.
Sorry, Nick. So a reminder for you all, every Sunday throughout the season, you can get a free small Frosty with the purchase of a spicy chicken sandwich combo from Wendy's. Order now using the promo code HouseWendy's on DoorDash and have it delivered directly to you. And we will be back after the episode. Make sure to join us back at IGN.com or wherever you watch IGN. And be ready to dig into all the craziness. We'll see you on the other side. party for Game of Thrones presented by Wendy's. I am Sydney Goodman, and I am here with Nick.
Jenny would dance with ghosts.
Okay, and Terry. Hello, Terry.
Sir Brienne, everyone.
I know. Okay, so real quick, give me, I'll give you 5 seconds each. How are you feeling? Nick, go.
Giant's Bane.
That is a feeling. Okay.
Very emotional and also confused about this, and we'll get to that later.
It is very
She's got to be at least
confusing.
18. It's fine. It's fine.
Right? No, I know.
How long has, since the first episode, how many years have transpired?
I don't know,
Sometimes
probably about 6 or 7 or 8.
All right, clearly
Okay,
we have an
yeah.
answer here. Anyways, every Sunday throughout the season, you can get a free small Frosty with the purchase of a spicy chicken sandwich combo from Wendy's on the DoorDash app. Use the promo code HouseWendy's via DoorDash to have it delivered directly to you each Sunday. And our social producer, Jeffrey, is enjoying some Wendy's now.
I didn't know you were going to cut to me.
I'm still chewing. Well, it's very convenient that you are indeed enjoying some Wendy's right now. So we'll check in with him soon to see what the world is saying about episode 2. But right now we get to dive in. Okay, so let's just start off the bat, biggest reveal.
Well, we now know the name of the episode. It's A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. They've been waiting until after the episode to
Very
reveal
smart.
what it
I
is.
appreciate
And now
that.
we have something more
Yes.
colorful than
But here, wait,
episode 2.
it's night spelled, how do they spell night? Tell me.
K-N-I-G-H-T. Kniget, as Davos would say.
Ah,
yeah.
yes.
Back when he didn't know how to read.
He can't read.
Yeah.
You can't
did.
read. That's great. I can't. Okay. Anyways, the biggest reveal. So that is the title of the episode, and obviously we'll get to Brienne because I know we're all really itching to talk about it. But let's start. Danny knows.
Yeah.
It's out in the open.
Well,
She's
we still
not
don't
stoked.
really know how she's gonna respond.
She doesn't seem very happy.
John had a whole 24 hours, right? And he saved it until the last possible second. And all he had to do was just say, yo, I don't want to be king, because I don't think he wants to be king. And I'm very curious to see how this added tension will really screw with their whole battle against the Night King.
Well, I'll tell you who's not screwing.
We don't
Also,
have time for all this.
Also, though.
John's been around Danny. You, in the pre-episode, painted this picture of Danny kind of becoming the bad guy. So John's probably going to be like, look, I'm just going to wait until the very last minute. Hey, White Walker's here. Oh, by the way, you're my aunt when we had sex still, but it's fine. Gotta go.
It is, for all the fan service that they're doing, it is hilarious that no one has acknowledged Auntcest or used the term Auntcest yet in the show, but there's still time.
It's
There's
totally
4 more
fine.
episodes.
It's casually thrown whiff. Just hey, yeah, sex, brother, sister,
I do think about though, okay, so we've all been in those relationships where you can tell that something's going down. Oh no! Oh my God! No! Not that kind. No, but I'm saying where it's poor communication is what I'm referring to right now. When you're not communicating well with your partner, and you can kind of
And
sense.
you're related.
And no, that's not part of my story at all. No, but where you can kind of sense that it's something's up, because I'm sure John probably hasn't kissed his aunt. And he's probably kind of
flaking on her all episode
Exactly.
too. He pieces out from that.
That's
work
right. He
council.
pieced out.
Yeah.
And I
She's
just imagine being Danny and being like, oh my gosh, does he like me? What's happening here? I'm so confused. And then he drops the bomb that it's also I'm kind of after this throne. He leaves out the part where he doesn't really want it, but. I just try to imagine the inner turmoil that she's experiencing right now.
And they do a really good job of the camera is on her, right? And you can see her dread and her dread and her fear and her dread as he's saying more and more. And it was interesting that he kind of defaulted to, it's treason. That's horrible to say that I would be an heir. And for her, she thinks he's lying. She thinks she's this is pretty convenient that Bran,
She
your
does
brother,
bring up some good
and
points.
Sam,
your
your
weird
best
brother,
friend, yeah.
your weird friend. I don't trust these people.
Yeah. It's a
I
convenient
killed his whole
timing.
family.
Yeah.
Exactly. But she seems more pissed that he would also have a claim. And earlier in the episode, she makes that comment to Sansa, kind of the female leaders trying to fight in a man's world essentially to get some respect. So that's clearly high of mind for her that another dude is gonna come in and have
who
a
I'm
weird
related to.
thing. Yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
gosh. Oh,
We can
dude.
all relate.
I like the
Nephews.
conversation between Sansa and Daenerys. I thought that was
Yeah,
good.
no,
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Until it ended exactly the way it started.
See, I liked that though
Me
because
too.
so I thought it was interesting because to Sansa she was like, "Oh, I love Jon. Like that's why I'm here, even though it sucks, and like I'm fighting his war."
Or Daenerys says that.
Or,
Yeah.
sorry, yeah. Daenerys says that to Sansa, but it was interesting because earlier in the episode when they leave and she kind of gets like not exactly what she wants from Jaime's trial, she's like so focused on the Iron Throne.
Right.
So I thought it was really interesting that when it matters, she's kind of playing this like, oh, I'm like the lovely queen who's here to help save everybody so we don't get eaten by death. But actually, she's like, hey, oh, I can't say the word. Hey, friends. I would like the Iron Throne. And that does seem to be like such a primary motivation for her.
I liked that Daenerys listened to Jorah's advice and went and just talked with Sansa. Like, that's all that needs to happen sometimes on the show. As Brienne would say, we don't have time for the rest of it. And so, like, for them to just go and talk about it was really great. But you're right, it did end where it started. And Daenerys, I think, said the underlining conflict that she's facing when she finds out about Jon's parentage, which is her entire life. Before we knew her entire life, everything she's known is she needs to get the Iron Throne back from the people who took it from her. She or her brother Viserys deserve to be on the Iron Throne. Like, that has kept her alive since we met her. And now, like, the idea of her giving that up, I think Sam was right last week. Like, Dany's not just gonna do that without a fight. Yeah.
So I do have a question for you, Terry. Nick, you're free to answer if you know the answer.
I abstain.
Okay.
Alrighty, you don't even know the question.
So Sansa was talking about kind of like what happens to the North after this is all over, pending not everybody's dead and an Iron Throne does still exist.
Right.
What is the deal with that? Like in an ideal world, the North, they're not ruled by who's on the throne. Just remind us of this. Do you know?
Well, Winterfell used to be its own country. They all
the
used
North,
to be.
the Seven Kingdoms used to be 7 separate kingdoms,
Yes,
and it
yes.
was I
Like
am
colonies.
blanking on who I don't know who the person who united them all together. I'm blanking on this. I'm very ashamed for my Game of
That's
Thrones
okay.
knowledge.
I forgive you.
Nick, do you want to cover it for me on this?
Gus, no.
Yeah, Gus is my favorite former ruler of the Seven Kingdoms. So they actually talked about this, the showrunners, a bit on the inside the episode, where they said Sansa's fear is that Daenerys is just another tyrant coming in. Like, she just
Totally,
wants to
yeah.
rule like everything she knows about her. And I did like that they had this kind of human moment. But yeah, for what they said, and I think it has kind of rung true ever since the North broke off, became their own kingdom, knighted their own king, which was Jon, is they don't want to once again be ruled by an outside ruler. They want the North to be its own kingdom again, whereas Daenerys would obviously expect the Seven Kingdoms to all bow to her. And the North has been so burned, and Sansa's been so burned by all these other rulers who don't have the North's best interest at
Totally.
heart, that she's like, we're not ready. We already named ourselves a king. It just so happened that he was your nephew and you guys started banging and now you're in love with each other and he can fly dragons and like this really sucks now.
Thank you for the
basically.
closed caption.
You're welcome.
Okay, so there were obviously a lot of scenes in the episode because that's what episodes consist of. But which were your favorites?
The breaking down of television is very important. I'm gonna say this right now. This was my favorite Game of Thrones episode, maybe ever.
Why?
Oh.
Because first off, it was like a bottle episode, and like they've had other like bottle episodes, but usually those just involve like combat. Whereas this one felt like a bottle episode where they're like all having a sleepover at Winterfell. Is how I've
Oh my!
always been
I wrote in my thing summer camp question mark. Yes.
and we got to
Winter camp.
and we got to have all these like kind of character moments with all the characters that we've grown to love. Like Podrick knocked it out of the park.
Oh, I know.
And it was
He's a little warrior. He doesn't suck
And he
anymore.
just and he
He's
had the
such a
face where he was
little-
just like, and you were just like
It's earned. It's earned.
I was
the
so
dude can
happy for
sing,
him.
and the dude can sing, and like, so it was all these characters, and it wasn't just this. Like, episode 1 was kind of all like the top line characters, of the
Reunions,
season.
yeah,
and
your checklist.
it was a mixed bag episode, but this one was like, hey, this is what all the people we like, and
totally.
it was just a really fun episode. So picking like, a favorite scene.
Come on, Arya had sex with Gendry.
I wanted you to bring that one up.
I don't know how to feel about it. Oh, we don't need to watch it
Yeah,
again.
we don't need to see
Here's
that
the
again.
thing, like this is not my favorite scene. We'll get to that. It's not.
It's so
this
good, though.
scene was so like okay. It's very true
That's
to
sarcasm,
show
by the way.
Arya. I'd say like it's very true that she'd be like, yeah, like on my bucket list, I'm gonna like have sex with this like hot guy. And she told earlier in the episode when I was watching it, I was like, why is she making eyes at like sexy Gendry in the forge, like with his
Because
shirt
if you
kind
see
of
sexy
down?
gender, like you're gonna make eyes at him.
Yeah, I mean,
she's
like
only a human being.
we all were. That one was a bit surprising for me, and that they showed it. Like Maisie Williams and Arya still look so young, and like we've been watching this character since she was like a wee babe. And I tweeted, I was like, guys, like just remember she's probably like 18 on the show, and like we've watched her grow up, but oh my god, like I didn't want to see my favorite little kid. Like I don't want to see Brienne have sex. We saw Sansa get.
We don't have time
That
for
was a
this.
big bummer. But that scene.
It wasn't. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how to fix-
Our
I'm processing it
memoriam
live.
this week is Arya's virginity.
Yeah.
Which wasn't what I
That wasn't
wanted
on the
at all.
board.
I would
That
have
wasn't on the
sacrificed
board.
pretty much any other character for that.
I do really want us to come back. I'm looking at the producers right now. Next week we need an in memoriam for Arya's virginity.
Does Bran lose his virginity next week?
Every episode is just like
Okay, but my favorite scene is Jaime knighting Brienne,
Oh my
which to me
gosh.
is better than a sex consummation between those two. Like I
totally
think
agree.
their relationship is one of the most earned, one of the most emotional. Like I don't know about you guys, but I did tear up when
Oh,
that
I totally
yeah,
did.
big time.
100%.
And when Gwendolyn Christie smiles at the end, that has to be the first time Brienne has like really smiled ever on the show, and you feel that. You felt like when you see it happen, you recognize the absence of it ever happening before. And one thing they kept talking about in the inside the episode is like full on like Brienne loves Jaime.
Which, okay, I don't know if am I an idiot, but I wasn't picking up those vibes. I was
Really?
like, it was like a thing where I was like,
Maybe then. I
maybe,
don't-
but I was like, oh, it just felt like this like earned friendship kind of.
It's like
versus
brother
a-
sister in human reality relationship. Maybe
So-
not like a
Maybe
brother
that's-
sister Game of Thrones relationship.
So I rewatched the whole series before the new season began, and I forgot that there was in the Joffrey death episode, so everyone's forgiven for forgetting this, which is when Jaime and Brienne have recently come to King's Landing and they're there. Cersei calls Brienne out on being in love with Jaime. Like she sees the
Oh,
way
I
Brienne's
totally-
looking
yeah.
at her, and she's like, "You're in love with him," and Brienne's kind of like, and what the showrunners were saying for this one is like Brienne probably hasn't really processed the fact that she's in love with Jaime. But if you remember back to their like bath scene in Harrenhal, which is one of my favorite book moments and show moments, like probably one of the best Jaime moments ever, where he's kind of delusional and is telling Brienne about how his story of how he killed the Mad King. That's the moment where you can kind of track back to when she fell in love with him,
Yeah.
or her relationship with him turned. And I thought this whole arc in this episode, from her standing up for him and saving him, and then being like, "Why are you making fun of me?" And he's like, "I just respect you, lady." Like, and then he knights her. Like, it's
So the reason why I'm
good.
making this face is because I feel like it makes it so evident that one of the two, if not both of them, die.
They're gonna die. Everyone's gonna die. That little Shireen baby girl's gonna die. Everyone's
And
dead.
I'm
Wait, little
just-
Stargirl?
She's
No,
totally
no,
gonna die.
because we'll get to that later. But that's like,
She's
well,
dead.
just little-
Everyone's gonna die.
Stop it, you
Grey Worm
demon.
or Missandei or both
We
are
haven't
gonna
gotten to
die.
predictions yet.
Okay,
we'll
hold-
get back there.
Yeah,
It's not
Buzzkill-
even. It's a fact. Everyone's gonna die. This is Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but you're ruining wine party scenes.
Yeah,
Which were
so
like,
the wine party campfire friends was probably my favorite scene.
Yeah.
maybe the entire series for me. Like that
It was, well, I felt just like the energy of it was great. Tormund was being my boy. Tormund.
We got the Giants Bane story.
We
We got
did.
Podrick singing. We finally got Tyrion drunk again. We haven't seen drunk
Yeah,
Tyrion in a
we
while.
really have.
Cersei didn't drink any wine this episode. Everyone
Did
else
we
made
even
up
see
for
her
it.
face?
Nope.
No. This was
There's a
only in
bottle.
Winterfell. Yeah.
We
that's
got Sir
right.
Davos just like, just being
Doing his
badass, just,
Yeah.
The only thing it needed was Jorah just showing up and just being a buzzkill. Be like, hey guys, we have a fight, and
Well, Danny wasn't there, so
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
wasn't gonna
exactly.
be there.
But we did finally get Jorah and Lyanna Mormont acknowledging that they both exist and are related, which a lot of fans have been waiting for a while. And I'm burying the lead. I wore the shirt for it. We finally got Ghost.
We finally
back.
kind of got- I mean,
Ghost Watch. Our
he
Ghost
was
Watch
there,
is over.
But also, just like, what?
The worst,
This is
like
in the corner.
they're like, oh, no one noticed that he was just out of frame for 2 seasons. Sorry, guys.
Well, and I like that, so they don't put him front and center. It's like, oh, just this time the
no
frame
one's
happens
like,
to be
Ghost
shifted a
is
little.
here. They're just like, yeah.
That might be my only critique of this episode, that Ghost just didn't silently walk in and just start biting down on some like wine jugs. you know,
Yeah,
he needed to get drunk with everyone.
He didn't drink some wine either.
And then when the White Walkers show up, he's just stained with wine. He's like, okay, and then we have a drunk ghost.
Wait, okay, so
Heading into episode 3.
obviously the end of the episode was kind of teeing up that next episode we'll get a battle. But wait, wouldn't that be so funny if next episode was also a setup episode and we didn't get a battle for another episode?
Wait, but it's from the perspective of the White Walkers,
Yes,
and
I'm just
they're
like-
like sitting around, like waiting for the battle to start, just chilling.
But we see who they really are. It's like, Brad, you ready to do this? Yeah, Chad, I'm totally ready. Let's party. Woo!
Yeah, where's Russ at? I didn't like. It took me a double take. How many of the White Walkers were there? Like that's an endless line because I keep joking that it's like vampire rules on the show that if you kill one of these White Walkers, then like all the whites that they've kind of created die with them.
Yeah.
But there's so many of them. Craster and all his little incest babies have grown up into these like ice demons, and obviously like Bran and Jon, they have their plan for how Bran is gonna draw the Night King out and they're gonna kill him. But I don't know, like we don't
Seems
know
like a bad
necessarily that if you kill the Night King, the person who made all the other White Walkers, will that kill them?
Yeah, they're
And
making
then
a lot of assumptions for sure.
It's all gonna go bad, everyone's gonna die.
So
Or not.
or not. Maybe
I
not.
mean-
Tyrion doesn't think so. He thinks, you know,
He's been
might
wrong
live.
a lot. We established that
He
in
has
this
been wrong
episode.
a lot.
So have you.
So how do we feel about their plan? How do we feel about their plan though? So Bran's
Using
gonna
Bran
be
as bait is
the
definitely a good
bait.
idea. That is definitely a good idea.
No, like we got so much. Where'd my boy go? We got so much Bran's position this episode. I thought we like
Bran's
learned a lot.
position.
I thought we have the Wendy's cup in the way. Like I thought we learned a lot of interesting stuff about the Night King, and I kind
Yes.
of word vomited an article before we came back here about something I think is really important that is kind of underlined in the plan. So come to Theory Town with Terry.
Can we get some fire?
Yeah, can we get some like fire or
Town with
something?
Terry.
Don't Bran, we don't have time for this for me right now. But bear with me. So Bran is gonna lure the Night King out to the Godswood, right? And that's where like that big pretty tree is. If you remember back to the creation of the original White Walker, it was when the Children of the Forest nailed him to a similar tree and
Yes.
shoved dragon's glass into his heart, and that's what caused him to change. And I wonder if there's more to Bran's plan than just like come to this place that's wheelchair accessible, but like instead that he's gonna try without telling anyone to recreate that, and maybe it won't be as simple as just like destroying the Night King, but if they shove dragon glass into his heart and pierce him against the tree, that will
Maybe
like undo what happened
Yeah.
or something. I don't think it'll go as planned because there are 3 more long episodes of Game of Thrones after the next one, but I feel like that might have something to do with his
it.
plan.
Well, we got a glimpse into kind of what might be his motivation, the Night King's motivation, and that was
He wants to kill Bran. He wants to
Yes.
kill the 3-eyed raven. Yeah.
who said that might be the case.
Was it Sydney? Was it?
We don't have time for this.
Question. I have a question for you, and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna write this down because I don't pick up on this stuff a lot. But maybe you did. Remember when Arya was seducing Gendry by throwing daggers at the wood?
Yeah.
The formation of the
Best
daggers
foreplay.
was like exactly in the position of the 3-eyed raven. So I'm wondering,
What do you mean?
Like of its
like
eyes.
the daggers were in the position of the eyes. So I'm wondering, I mean, I don't know, maybe Arya's gonna stab Bran with 3 daggers in the forehead.
She could put on his face or something like
Yeah,
that.
so-
I don't think she'd kill Bran though.
What if
No,
Arya
Arya would-
pretends to be Bran sitting in the wheelchair, and the Night King's like, "Oh look, here's Bran, idiot," and then she's like, "Don't have the mark," and then she's like, and then she has her little like dual wield situation.
You're on fire right now. My only thing about that is I think you need to be dead to have your face removed to put it on
What
Arya.
if she kills Bran and takes his face?
I don't know if that would help, but I really do like the theory. That would be amazing because we need to see some Arya face action.
I think we'll get it.
Yeah.
Sometime between now and the end.
So
of
you're
the
saying, I
season.
know we're gonna get to predictions, but you're saying next week she kills Bran, just be like, I need your face. So and he's like, okay, fine.
He's like, yeah, I mean, I saw it.
Well, wait, what if he's like, I'm not Bran, I'm the 3-eyed raven, and so it's okay that she
For
kills
her to
him.
kill-
So she kills him, takes his face, and then the Night King's like, hey, what's up, Bran? And she's like, no way, and then she stabs him. And then she's like, hey, Gendry, get in bed. We're gonna do that thing again.
Wait, does the Night King,
Okay,
is he
yeah.
all-knowing as well? Because I feel like the Night King has kind of been seen as this parallel to
We
the
actually
Three-Eyed
don't
Raven.
know too much about
Okay.
him and his abilities, though, like I said in the pre-show, like Isaac Hempstead Wright had said, we'll find out more. He's the actor who plays Bran. He said we'll find out more about the Night King. So I think that stuff will all still come. And if my theory about like there could be more to trying to undo what the Children of the Forest created, like maybe when it all goes wrong, Bran will finally clue everyone into his plan, because we know Stark siblings like not telling everyone the full scope of their plans has really worked out in
They're
the
not
past.
very good communicators.
No, they're really bad communicators.
No.
I do want to shout out one other cool thing from this episode that was really exciting as someone who read the books. The song that Pod sang is called Jenny of Oldstones, and that is a song in the books. I don't know the full history of it. You can find a full breakdown on IGN, so I would encourage you to go to the website when you're done with our watch party. But it's basically about, I believe, a Targaryen woman who like had kind of an illicit love with someone. So there are a lot
Their
of
nephew?
yeah, specifically, and her name was Daenerys, not Jenny. But it has a lot of like symbolism and symmetry to the story that Jon and Dany are experiencing. But fun fact, that song after the episode was sang by Florence the Machine. So cool. Like they've done that a couple times with
Yeah.
other songs from the canonical world of Game of Thrones, and they brought in famous musicians to perform them. So I thought it was really cool. Florence
Wow,
did that.
too bad she didn't have a cameo. We all know how much everyone loved having Ed Sheeran in the episode.
But people liked Rob and Martin, even though we didn't take the time
Yeah.
to show
I
them.
would've
There's
taken
a little bit of
Florence.
a difference between those two. and
Okay,
Ed
so
Sheeran.
I think I already know our answer to this, but our MVP candidate for tonight.
Well, I'm gonna throw out
Can
a
somebody
cou-
just say it?
Well, real quick. I'm gonna throw out some candidates.
Okay.
Okay, first off, Podrick coming up from like last. We haven't seen Podrick in a while.
Do we have it? He
I don't
didn't
think-
even make
he
it.
We didn't make it.
He
I-
made the
He didn't
popsicle
even
sticks.
make it. We'll use this like Funko Pop Drogon instead.
You know,
That'll
Podrick.
stand in for Podrick.
He's kind of a badass now. He's telling people what to do. He can sing.
I
He's-
really was
he's
so
drinking.
proud of him for
I
like
was
doing
too.
well at sword
He's the
practice.
strongest 14-year-old boy in Westeros now. We're all excited for him. My new favorite character is little Scar like girl,
Little Scar Girl, yes.
Shireen 2.0, we can call her.
Shireen too. Okay,
That
fine.
feels a little more respectful.
She kind of like pushes Lyanna down as like the badass 12-year-old. Like, you know, first there was Arya, and then there was Lyanna, and now there's badass Scar girl.
Yeah, and that I really did love that they had that scene, because it was intentionally supposed to call back Stannis Baratheon's daughter, who they like burned at the stake for her king's blood, and that Davos had such a close relationship with her, and like this little girl had her scar on her face, and she was like, I want to fight with my brothers. It was like the perfect kind of wholesome.
It was
She's
sweet.
definitely gonna die, guys.
She's
like,
so
there's
gonna
no
die,
way
and it'll be
she's
really
gonna
sad.
survive
Stop
the
saying
curse.
such
She's-
terrible
yeah,
things.
Just be ready.
It's
Prepare
she's
yourself.
gonna die. She's gonna
Tormund?
die.
Yeah, no, I have him ready for you.
He was
He's
like,
the best.
screw tradition.
Did you like how he even cock-blocked John and Ed's reunion? Like, John's like, I haven't seen my buddy Ed in so long, and Tormund's like, hey, buddy, and he's like, stop. And then my favorite part of the episode was watching Jaime watch Brienne react to Tormund, where
Yes.
he's like, this guy?
I love Tormund's complete disregard for any social like cues. I feel like I can relate, and maybe that's why I like him so much. I don't really know.
I know social producer Jeffrey is probably still eating Wendy's right now, but like after, if you could just do a cut of Tormund like chugging his like giant milk with Luke chugging his like blue-green milk from Last Jedi, that would be
Copyright
like
TM, nobody can make that before us,
primo.
just
Yeah,
saying.
no one else.
You can't.
If you
Sorry.
if you make that before Jeffrey gets a chance to, just make sure to tag him and tell
Yeah.
him he's in trouble.
Actually, since we're already on Jeffrey, why don't you tell us, what are the people saying about this episode?
I would love to. I've been on the World Wide Web the entire time you guys have been talking. I haven't paid attention. I have. And got a tweet up here for you guys to look at. So obviously the big thing, Arya and Gendry, even HBO knows it. This is sort of like we're really not ready for this, but this tweet I really love is that someone pointed this out. I have a son.
Yes.
You have a daughter. We'll join our houses. Probably not exactly what they meant.
And fitting that Gendry revealed that he is Robert Baratheon's bastard.
Oh yeah, I forgot that happened.
Fans have been picking up on that since they kind of like had their flirtation last week, and they're like, hey, this still could happen, except everyone's gonna die. Please don't forget that everyone is going to die.
You're bumming everyone out.
I'm just
I
trying
mean,
to
not
prepare
everyone
you.
can die. But okay, Jeffrey, does anybody have any like burning questions for us? Because we're really good at answering them. Cough Terry will answer them.
Yeah, so I guess people really want to. A lot of people are split split on
Okay.
Arya. They're not sure because obviously we grew up with her. She's very young in the beginning.
Are you just gonna pull up my Twitter?
Yeah, I have Terry Schwartz's Twitter up right now, and I'm gonna cut to it. But how do you guys feel about it? I mean, obviously this is sort of like we've grown up. Like, are you guys like cool with it? I know you guys were sort of on the fence.
If it had to happen, I feel like I'm happy it happened this way, only because it felt so true to her character. But at the same time, did it have to happen?
I think if it happened, like if they had to redo it, we just cut to Arya with a cigarette, and then we get, and then they're in bed under like some hay, and we get it. That's all we need.
I think there was like, everyone's gonna yell at us on the internet for saying this, but like there was like some side boob and some like butt action that I was like, oh my sweet little sweet Arya, did you hit puberty? Like when did that happen? Was it when you were with the House of Black and White? Yeah, I mean, if anything, it gives me hope that if Brienne and Jaime don't die before they could next have sex, that they might eventually have sex. Or
oh my gosh, if they don't bang before they die, I'm gonna be so sad.
It's either gonna be they have like really beautiful sex and admit they love each other, or one of them is gonna die in the other's arms and admit they love each other, or they're just never gonna see each other again and nothing can be happy because it's Game of Thrones.
Of course. Jeffrey, do you have anything else that's maybe doesn't leave us down like a path of despair?
Yeah, I got another tweet for you. Why don't we go ahead and pull it up? I don't know how that works. So this is a great meme. Obviously, everyone loves Tormund. This was a huge episode for Brienne, and I feel like we're all Tormund in this moment. I do also want to pull up the Gwendolyn Christie, who plays Brienne of Tarth. She posted this really, really wonderful Instagram that I'm definitely not crying at. I'm gonna get hashtag 2Ps in a pod trending, so if you're watching this, tweet it right now and tweet me, because I will read it.
That's the spin-off we need. That's the spin-off we need. I mean, like, Tormund needs a 10-year-old Tormund needs a spin-off, like the Young Adventures of Silly Tormund, where it's just like
with the giants,
killing giants, just hanging out like in a little baby carrier. Just But speaking of Brienne, we
didn't say
We
that
didn't
who our
crown her
MVP
officially,
was.
but I think we all unanimously we voted for her.
Yeah, she's our MVP.
It was her
our
episode.
MVP.
It was her
Yeah, it was
episode.
her
It's her
episode.
show. It's her season. Brienne's awesome.
She actually got dialogue this
if
week. It's
they
great.
killed everybody next episode and the rest of the show was just us watching Brienne like hang out, I'd kind of be into it.
friends.
I'm sad. I'll never smile again like I smiled in this episode, but it was so worth it.
Anyways, thank you so much, Jeffrey. We want to hear from you guys watching at home, so let us know what your burning questions are of Game of Thrones, and we'll do our best to answer them kind of in a little bit. Haha. Okay, but first, a word from our good friend George.
No.
Wow, what an episode. Just a reminder, right after IGN Watch Party Game of Thrones, I'll be back with all my hot takes on all of Sydney, Terry, and Nick's hot takes on Game of Thrones in my George R. R. Martin presents George R. R. Martin's IGN Watch Party. Watch Party Game of Thrones After Show with me, George Raymond Richard Martin, right here on IGN.
I really wish there were some more manuscript pages around him or anything. Like I'm waiting for write the damn book, George. Let's reset for a bit. I feel like we just need to kind of see where everyone is, literally, like we made this beautiful board. Who is where, and are they in a good spot to either take on the White Walkers or hide out from them? So let's have a look at this map. It's time for Who's Where in Westeros. It's pretty straightforward. It's a map of who's where in Westeros. But as you know, like we spent this entire episode just in one place in Winterfell. So I just want to briefly recap. This was set up before we watched the last episode, so we can kind of move some people around. First of all, we know that Tormund has made it to his love. I mean, let's just get like Jon and Dany out of here. He really is only here at Winterfell for Brienne. I don't know if I can like make them kiss or something. I don't know. People ship it somewhere. The Night King also is moving ever closer. And even though we know that Jon and Dany are kind of our only two representatives, I don't know if I can pile them all on top of each other. Everyone else is at Winterfell too. This is going to be the final showdown. Theon has made it. He's over here. He's safe. They're ready to have the final battle against the Night King. That almost certainly won't be the final battle because it's only the third episode and there are 6 long episodes in this season. We know that Yara, Theon's sister, seems to be back at the Iron Islands. That's what Theon tells Daenerys in this episode, and we can guess that maybe they'll have to like fall back to the Iron Islands, which you'll remember is a group of islands. And if you remember back to last season, White Walkers can't actually swim. What they can do is all like drop into the ocean and then like put like a chain around a dragon's neck somehow, even though they're undead, and then like I guess die, and then they pull the dragon out. But anyway, like it's probably a good place if they need to fall back somewhere to be safe to go back to the Iron Islands instead of going to King's Landing. But back in King's Landing, we still do have Euron, Harry Strickland, the head of the Golden Company, and Cersei, who probably are still there, probably still conniving, probably just being evil people. And let's not forget that across the Narrow Sea, Cersei ain't getting her elephants. They're over here. They're in Essos. They're like grazing, living their truth. But I do want to spotlight the last and most important person who we haven't checked in on this season, and I'm of course talking about Hot Pie, who, as far as we know, is still at the Inn of the Crossroads.
We don't have time for
the
all this.
the only inn in all of Westeros that it's worth checking in on. I do want to shout out too. She's not on here, but Mira Reed. I don't know if like last season was the last we're gonna see of her. She was pretty pissed that Bran was like. What she said to Bran is like, this is the only reason we did all this, just to get you back. And me as a viewer, I'm like, yeah, is this the only reason that Mira's been around? So I hope that she and her dad, Howland Reed, show up at some point, because otherwise that means they're dead and they're probably, oh shoot, they could be whites. They could be in the Night King's army. That's my recap. I probably made you more confused, but we'll be checking in on this every single week. And I think it's time to get back to Gaming of Thrones. Just talked a lot. Sorry about that, Sid.
No, do your thing. It was all more info than I could have come up with.
Gaming of Thrones. Ooh, there we go. Perfect timing.
Hello.
I want to see a cold front come
Hello
through.
there. It feels like it's so cold. I know you at home.
How do we do it?
Don't know,
How
but
do we do it?
Oh.
TV magic. Right here.
the board's different.
The board's different, but
How
I'm
did that
still
happen?
here. So how do we do on our pre-show bets? Do you guys want to predict beforehand which of you got the most right?
I'm assuming I did.
Yeah.
I don't
Nick,
think it was me.
Can you be the champion 2 weeks in a row? Well, let's see. Will Daenerys find out Jon is a Targaryen? You were the only one who said no, Nick, so that kind of sets you back. But Sid and I both
Yeah, that was
got
wrong.
that one right.
That was a good try.
Why did you think that wouldn't happen? Like, we only have so many episodes left.
I'm not great.
Bet number 2 is, will anyone else find out what Jaime did to Bran? And the answer, surprisingly, was no. So Sid, that's 2 up for you. I got that one wrong. Nick is bombing so far this episode. And he's going 3 for 3 because when we asked, will the Red Woman Melisandre return in this episode, you also said yes. So Sid is still...
Wait a minute. Maybe Scargirl is Melisandre.
I actually had one person tweeting at me saying they thought they saw an old lady who looked kind of like old lady Melisandre going into the crypts or something, which would be like crazy good, and I will give you retroactive points next week if you do end up being... Yeah, inconclusive, but we're gonna go with Nick is 3 for 3 wrong.
I'm
and Sid is
honestly
3 for
so
3
far ahead
right.
that you can have your inconclusive point.
Oof,
I don't want pity
oof.
points.
That's
Well, then I
a
guess you don't get
burn.
it.
Good for one of Daenerys' dragons. Next up, will Daenerys try to kill Jaime Lannister? I'm the only one who said yes. You guys both said no, which still keeps Sydney ahead. You're doing pretty well. This is your redemption arc, like Jaime Lannister.
Cool.
Bet 5 was, will we see the Night King this week? We all got it right technically, except Nick had a very specific way of saying this would happen, and that was absolutely wrong, so you get 2 negative points for that.
Oh.
I make my own rules. This is my game. It's my board. No one else can have it. It's mine. Will Arya kill anyone? And you have a shame bell next to you. You can shame me whenever you want.
You suck so much. You suck so much.
Bet 6 was will Arya kill anyone in this episode? Sid, this is your first one you got wrong.
I know.
But you're still way ahead. I can't do maths too well, but I do know you're
Kill
ahead.
that Cersei.
Yeah. Bet number 7 was, will Cersei drink wine again, even though she's pregnant, and it's still a bad idea. Nick, you got this one right. We didn't even see
I think
Cersei
she did
in this
off
episode.
camera.
Yeah,
I'm just putting that out there.
That's
We don't
good
know what she was
logic,
doing.
but we didn't see it happen. But I still do think you are ahead. You're doing pretty well, Sydney. Now, the last thing that we did have was our bets for how many times would Bran stare at someone without saying anything. Were we so lucky as to have a supercut already, or we just have a tally? We do have a tally at least, and it was 6 times this episode. So yeah, I did say we would do Price is Right rules for these, which I mean, since Nick said infinity, I guess he won. He won that. Again, I didn't really tally those up well, but I'm gonna give it to Sydney, because yay! look at her.
myself.
She's so great. She's such a good host. You get points for being the host with the most just for that. But don't worry, guys. We will have another week to redeem all of ourselves when we check back in on Gaming of Thrones. Let's see what our buddy George is up to. It's not writing books. It's not.
I know you're writing the comments right now. I know you're writing some naughty, mean things right now. Just remember, George is watching. George is always watching. Tread lightly.
George is always watching.
Okay, well, before we go back to Jeffrey to hear what fans want to talk about, Nick and Terry, what are your big predictions for next week's episode?
I think everyone's gonna live.
Do you actually?
No.
Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe, I mean, that is like the most Inception plot twist is like, Game of Thrones is like, hey, everyone's gonna die.
That's
and we're like,
true.
oh my gosh, everyone's gonna die. And then if they're like, hey, everyone lives.
That-
they were like, whoa.
You
please.
could be right, actually. You might have just convinced me that maybe there won't be as many people dying in next week's episode as I've been predicting. But it seems like this is the big battle episode we know is coming. I know we talked about it before, but it's like it's supposed to be historically like the longest battle ever committed to screen, like longer than the battle for Helm's Deep from Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, which has me
Which is
super
a really
hyped.
good battle for
It's
the
a really
record.
good battle.
It's a really good battle.
Like if you remember back to how good the Hardhome battle was, the Battle of the Bastards, like they are upping it a notch. And I think they said, I don't know, they spent something like 90 days like shooting this scene. Like it's gonna
That's
be crazy.
so many days.
There's no
Oh my
way
gosh.
that people are going to
All live.
But I will do an actual prediction that's not just to see, are you gonna count and see who's
Well,
gonna live?
we're gonna do a game that I literally just made up right here in my
I love
head.
games.
Can you hand me the rest of those?
Yes.
I will hold somebody up, and you two will have to rapid fire tell me if they're gonna live or die. And then we'll
Okay.
just make a pile of everyone who's dead.
Okay, I like this game.
Okay, the dragon that is this one.
Drogon.
Drogon. No.
Drogon's gonna live.
Live. This is the live pile.
Okay.
Sansa.
Live.
Live. This other dragon.
I
Live forever. Last scene of the show.
Sitting on the Iron
Okay.
Throne,
Yeah.
for sure. For
Danny.
sure.
What if she dies?
What if she
Yes.
dies?
I like actually would be super into that death, not because I don't like her.
We're gonna
because I
surprise
think it'd
death
make it
soon.
so interesting.
We gotta start killing our darlings. Let's say die.
Bye.
Bye.
Bran.
Live.
Live.
You're all gonna end up
Santora.
loving Bran so much. Oh, dead.
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 Bye-bye. Oh my gosh, what if he reunites with Danny in the afterlife kind of?
Oh,
That feels
twice?
so.
That'll be the
what if
prequel
Danny
show.
dies and he's like, I must follow her, and like gets killed?
Yeah, that's.
That
I mean,
feels
that,
on brand.
that tracks.
That place.
He's gotta die.
Nope.
No one we love that much.
He's,
can live.
he's totally dying.
Live.
I'm trumping that because he's dead. You're on.
He'll probably live because he sucks.
Well, this goes to my prediction. I think Cersei is showing up in the next episode. It's gonna be a three-way dance. There's gonna be a lot of battles.
I
Wow.
think she's
really?
gonna surprise everyone, like betray her betrayal, and actually.
No, I think she's gonna show up to start a fight, and there's gonna be a three-way fight between the White Walkers, Cersei's army.
No, this is so good because I feel like this totally flips the trope on its head where you're like the people you're rooting for are about to lose, and then the new army comes and they're like, but we're here for you.
They
but
did that at the Battle of the but she'll
But
just
instead,
destroy
she'll
everyone.
come and you'll be like, oh my gosh, is she here to help? And then she's like, haha, you're dead. And then she just kills
And
everyone.
then he's like, I have a boat, and then the dragon comes and just beats the shit out of him.
I think it's gonna be like staggered. Like if they beat the Night King next week, I think Cersei will be there ready to like decimate the rest of them while they've had no chance to recover.
I
So
think.
is he alive?
Nah, he's probably gonna live.
Yeah, you're right.
Screw you,
Sucks.
Euron.
Theon.
Dead man walking.
For sure dead.
Which him and Sansa being like, hey,
I think
we're
he's
so
gonna die
cute. I loved
protecting.
it.
Oh, I loved that so
That
much
was
when
great.
they reunited.
I loved it.
think again,
But
very
could he
earned.
run away as a coward?
See, I think he's done that too many times. I think he will die to protect Bran. The irony being that, you know, he pretended that Bran had died this many years ago. He took Winterfell from it. I think that'll be his final
I'm
side.
gonna run away as a coward.
Okay, we're
That's
gonna do
fine.
like super rapid fire here.
Okay.
Jon Snow.
Live.
Die.
Angel, the Emperor.
I think Jon was brought back for a reason, and he
I don't
will
know
die
what to
when
do.
that is done.
I don't know what to do with him. We'll
We
put
can
him
just
in the
leave him
middle.
over
Okay, Yara.
Die.
Bye.
Again, everyone's gonna die.
This guy that's
Hopefully
not
Actually,
Night
die.
King.
I think die next
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. Night King.
Die eventually.
Not in the next episode.
Yeah.
This one.
Live.
Live? That's Viserion the Ice Dragon.
The dragon that we haven't said yet.
Rhaegal, die.
Die.
Ah.
Live.
Really? I can't think he dies.
No. He's
Okay.
him and Tormund are
Live in
living
the
forever.
Yeah. Oh, she's gonna die. It's gonna be so
Not in
sad.
this week. Not in
Wait,
this episode.
okay, we gotta go 50-50. Her or Jaime? Who's gonna live? Who's gonna die?
Ooh.
Do you know it's gonna be one or the other or both?
You're as cruel as George R.
No,
R.
Listen, I study his tomes.
Do you think he's like, I love you, and she's like, ah, and then she dies
Or the
in
other
his
way
arms?
around.
Who dies in on arms? Is that Cersei that dies in the arms? I thought there was some prophecy about somebody dying.
I think
in
she'll
arms.
Cersei's
she'll
supposed to
die.
die.
He'll get revenge.
Or the other
He
way
has
around.
to be alive to kill Cersei.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think Brienne dies, Jaime lives. All
I
right.
hate this game.
Cersei will die eventually, but not in
Lives.
the next episode.
Not now.
I think she
Lives.
lives. Yeah, lives.
Lives.
Really?
There's a theory that the series is going to end kind of like
Oh.
Bilbo Bagginsy, where he's like writing the whole story and
We have a pretty
everything.
big pile of alive fellas.
But a lot of dead too. I'm telling you,
a
people
lot
are
of
gonna
dead.
die.
A lot of dead. So our main deaths are
Scientifically,
these big guys.
Accurate.
You guys can't see
got-
it,
we got-
but you can see that there's ones on the table.
not
and we
Tormund.
think Daenerys
I don't have
is
that
gonna
many
die.
hands though.
Yeah. Tormund is dead.
I don't.
So these are the deadies.
Keeping him away from Nick.
R.I.P.
Rip.
Rip. And then everybody that's not in my hands is alive.
Screenshot this.
This looks
the
like-
end of Game of Thrones.
This looks like a cool band though. Like a cool like progressive rock band.
Progressive rock band. Okay, any other theories of how we're gonna
I
get to
did
these
have
deaths?
one, but I lost it.
Oh, sorry. Here, I'll just
This.
start talking and interrupt me when you remember.
Okay.
So every Sunday throughout the season, you can get a free Frosty with the purchase of a spicy chicken sandwich combo from Wendy's on the DoorDash app. Use the promo code HouseWendy's via DoorDash to have it delivered directly to you each Sunday.
Nope, I still don't.
Okay, let's stay with Jeffrey and find out what fans out there want to ask us about the show.
You keep cutting to me as I conveniently take a bite out of the spicy chicken sandwich, and that's fine, whoever's doing that.
It's me.
All right, so I have a great question for the hosts. I love this question. This was asked by Fort Charger on our YouTube live stream right now. So obviously in this episode, we're sort of seeing like everyone kind of hide in the crypts. This person asked, can the Night King revive the dead Starks in the crypt?
That was the thing. I swear, that
Oh
was
my
the
gosh.
thing I was going to talk about. So that's the theory. I swear, I wouldn't lie.
No, I don't think you do. I just think like it's in the air.
This is a very popular theory. It tied back to the Varys, will he live, will he die? So basically, we don't necessarily know the statute of limitations on when the Night King can bring people back from the dead.
How convenient.
It's been very heavily emphasized that, you know, people are going to stay safe in the crypts of Winterfell, which we know house the bones of all of the dead Starks, including Ned Stark, I believe, made it back there. And so I fully believe now that when the Night King comes back, even in like the tease for next week's episode, Daenerys says the dead are already here. And what they think is going to happen is the Night King is going to screw with their entire plan and reanimate all the dead Starks that are housed in the crypts beneath Winterfell and basically attack them from the inside out. And I'm fully convinced
So
this will
I
happen.
think that's right, and it is a huge bummer.
And everyone's gonna die.
Well, no, except what you
Baby
forget
son.
is that all the Starks are more or less dumb and useless. So as they were
what a
like.
great point.
They were very dumb and useless and foolhardy and trustworthy. So they could just build like a big hole, and all the Starks would be like, "Hey, I'm reanimated," and I fell in this hole, and they'll be fine because the history of the Starks, except for the ladies and Jon Snow, who's barely a Stark now, they're fine. But like all the dumb Starks have been dumb since like been dead
Yeah,
since season
literally
3.
all the dumb Starks were Ned
I would also
and
argue
Robb
John's a
and,
little dumb too.
John's a little dumb, and then the Rickard was just.
Rickon?
Yeah, you're.
Okay,
he
you
didn't
guys
run
can
into
argue over
Serpentine?
that.
Okay.
Give us another question, Jeffrey.
Great. Okay, so Shadow's Edge on our Twitter live stream asked, do you think Dany will hesitate when she sees her Night King dragon?
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh,
I think no,
probably.
because she had zero reaction to Bran being like, hey, by the way, like your child is with the Night King and reanimated and a dragon. But yeah, maybe.
I feel like, yeah, I think she will. The only thing she loves more than her ego is her dragons.
The shade, it's strong. I'm curious to see if Bran can warg into either a dragon or an ice dragon. Like, I don't think, we've never necessarily had him try his abilities to warg into something that is dead that might have a negative impact on him, but he could maybe like warg into a dragon or something.
What if he wargs into some
We need like a
dead
tight
thing?
zoom
I know.
in on, like-
Wargs into some dead thing. And then I feel like what if there's some weird like cyclical thing where he ends up getting the dragon glass through him at the tree?
Ooh, well, that would tie back to the very popular theory that Isaac Hempstead Wright, the actor who plays Bran, hates, which is that Bran is the Night King.
Which I'm not saying, even though that's something that I said a lot, because I think it's been pretty clear that that's like probably not going to happen. But I think that would be interesting if there's some weird, like if he wargs into reanimated things, then like there's some consequence. And
I know we've made it a joke that I love Bran so much, but I think like the range of things his character can do is really interesting, and there's a lot.
Wait, did you just say Bran and interesting in the same sentence?
Yeah, Bran's probably gonna Bran's probably gonna warg into Sam. That's the meanest thing I've said.
I was just like, okay. Jeffrey, do you have any more questions for us?
Yes, sorry. I do. There's one that a lot of people keep asking, so I'm just going to throw it out here. Cyborg Man on Twitter asked, where is Lord Varys anyway?
Just in general, this episode?
Didn't we? I thought we saw him during Jaime's trial, didn't we?
Yeah, he's
For a
around.
second.
It's weird that like you'd think he would be the type who would come to drink. But we do see him
He
in
would
the
just
next...
bomb that party out.
I don't know. Varys is a good time.
Sure,
he's,
but
he's pretty rowdy.
He's kind of gossipy.
He's still in Winterfell.
I've heard that about him.
We see a scene from like the preview for the next week's episode where he's down in the crypts with like Gilly and baby Sam. So he's still there, but I guess I don't know.
Oh God! If we get a Gilly Varys scene, I will enjoy that.
I will die of like awkward, like secondhand awkwardness. So it's weird that my initial reaction to that question was like, well, obviously he like fast traveled back to Cersei.
Yeah, just to check in.
I'm just like so used to him just traveling all over with no consequence of time, but that's fine. Okay, so one more question, Jeffrey. Choose a good one.
Okay, well, that's a lot of pressure now.
They
all
have
right.
been great.
Yeah, they have been good questions.
Great question here from ELM on Twitter live stream. Who do you think is the weapon that Arya made? Who do you think is that meant for? The dragon, the Night King?
It's interesting that she had the weapon made but didn't know anything about the White Walkers, right?
That's a good point.
Like she's like asking Gendry. I think she made it because we watched her painfully train with a pole with the waif for seasons, and so this is like a weapon. She already has needle, she already has a Valyrian steel dagger, and this is a weapon that she's really equipped to fight. I feel like it's for the Night King.
Do you think then that means that I don't necessarily think this, because I think it'd be weird for them to call back on it a second time, but her being blind, like is there going to be some like darkness situation where she has the upper hand?
So I'm sorry, for people who like don't want to, hopefully you all want to discuss Game of Thrones and what's happening because you're here for a watch party after show. But I do keep pointing back to the preview for next week's episode. And one shot that we do see that was in an earlier trailer too is her like running through what looks like it could be the crypts or something inside that is really dark. And I think you're right. I think that like that, her heightened senses that she's honed that's a really good point. Sydney?
I think, 4 White Walkers are just going to get their heads knocked off.
Yeah, maybe she won't kill the Night King, but she'll take out some good White Walkers along the way.
Take that former, baby.
Okay, we're wrapping things up here. So let's turn it over to our good buddy, George R. R. Martin.
Due to unforeseen circumstances, I have once again failed. Kitty! No! Due to unforeseen circumstances, I have once again failed to fulfill my obligations. It is with a sad heart and deep regret that I must report that I will not be able to present George R. Kitty! George R. R. Martin presents George R. R. Martin's IGN Watch Party, Game of Thrones After Show. Kitty. What? You're the reason I can't write. Because you're too cute and snuggly. It appears that, unlike a Lannister, I'm unable to pay off my debts. Stay tuned for my new kid show, Guru of Thrones, Tales of Whiskeros.
Coming up, Guru of Thrones, Tales of Whiskeros. You'll love it.
Sir Pounce lives! Justice for Sir Pounce.
Okay, well, you know, I don't really have very much to say about that. But for tonight, at least, our watch has ended. So we'll be back here next week. And for more updates on Game of Thrones throughout the week, make sure you lock it into IGN.com. We'll see you next week.